Good morning, folks. As you can tell behind me, I'm out here in the forest. I'm working away at cleanup. I'm picking up pieces, running boards through the sawmill, and well, today I'm going to run boards through something else. What I've got here in behind me is something that I've seen in all kinds of places before. I've seen other people use, but I haven't put my hands on it for more than 5 minutes. Well, that's going to change here today. What I'm going to show you is this, a board edger. Now, I've talked about board edgers before. They kind of go hand in hand with sawmills. Well, the folks at Range Road reached out to me and asked if I wanted to try theirs out, put it into operation and see what I can do with it. And that's exactly what I'm doing here today. So this is a Range Road board edger. As you can tell, it's got a 420cc electric start gas engine. And you can see it comes with a battery here on the side. I've got this fueled up. I've got the battery charged. And well, I've also got some hydraulic fluid in here, because this is hydraulically driven belt. Now, this is the lever that's going to control the forward movement or the reverse movement. And that's going to be why it needs the hydraulic fluid. Now, down below here, we've got the adjustment for the blades. And how this actually works, we open this up, is there's 2 blades that it comes with. And you can see them down here. Now, this handle is going to move those blades. And so that's going to dictate the width of cut that I get. And so one of the blades is stationary. This one doesn't move. And this blade moves as I move that handle down there. Now the width of cut that we can do here is 20 inches. And if we make our way down here, you can see it there. So in between the blades will be 20 inches. Now we have a scale here, and you can see as I was moving that blade, we have the little indicator to tell me where I'm cutting at. And then underneath here, the green color, these are going to apply down pressure on the material you put through there. Those are the rollers, and you can see them up here as well. So we have 1 roller there and then 2 back here. And the same infeed roller on the infeed side is matched on the outfeed side. You can see it right there. On each end here, we've got 6-foot tables, so the outfeed side and the infeed side. And then obviously we have the rollers here. Now this particular model doesn't always come with a trailer unless you get it with a trailer. I have a trailer here. And so that just allows me to move it around the yard. But besides that, that's pretty much it. Now, one thing to mention here, these blades, I can resharpen them. I can actually add another blade to it if I wanted. I think you just have to more or less make room for it and then slide it over the shaft there. In fact, I'm sure you could put several blades on there if you wanted to. But in my case, comes with 2. And so that's what we're going to be using here today. Now, if we look back at the engine here, so the engine's going to drive a pump, the hydraulic pump. Obviously, it's going to draw from the hydraulic tank. We've got our lever there, which will open and close the flow of hydraulic fluid. And just to the right here of the lever, we have a needle valve, and that controls the flow going through that valve. And ultimately, we can go from stopped up to 55 feet per minute. So that's how fast the material is going to move through it. Over here, we have an emergency stop. And that's pretty much it. I guess just some other fine details here. You can see we have a lever if we ever needed to replace a hose of any kind, or we needed to shut off the flow of hydraulic fluid coming from the tank to the other parts. You could turn that there. And one more thing I'll mention here, you can put a 2-inch thick board through there, and these rollers here, which put down pressure on the board, they actually can be adjusted. You see the springs there? There's springs on both sides. And so if I wanted to reduce the down pressure or apply more, I can loosen it off or tighten it at the top there. So with that being said, I'm brand new to this unit. You might see a little bit of material on the ground. This is the extent of what I've done with this. I just wanted to make sure everything was functioning as it should be. So I'm going to put some miles on it here today. I've got this pile of boards ready to go, and most of this material here I'll make into stickers. And stickers are the wood that goes in between your lumber when you're drying it. So I'll look for probably 2 inches wide, give or take. And I've already cut most of these, I think, to 3/4 of an inch thick or 1 inch thick. Can't quite remember. So we'll cut that through the board edger here today, and we'll see how it goes. Here we go. Well, there we have it, folks. There's the board edger. There's the finished lumber. It certainly didn't take me all that long to get to this point. I'd say if I wasn't filming and if I was a bit more experienced with it, things would go even smoother. Now, the finished material, most of that is 1 inch thick. Some of it is 1 3/4 inches thick. And overall, it did just the same with either. Now, down here's our waste pile, and I've separated them so I can come by with the log loader trailer and pick up both and take it where it needs to go. Now, one thing I'm noticing I'm not used to is taking 2 cuts with 1 pass. Now, obviously with the sawmill, you take 1 cut with each pass. By taking the edge off each board with 1 pass, you're saving time. And I think that's ultimately what the edger comes down to. It saves you time. Now, there are some things I still need to learn. I still need to figure out the correct spot to put that second blade, more or less estimation, so that I'm getting the proper cut on the first pass. The odd time I missed it a little bit, and so I brought the board back and readjusted, but I think with experience I'll get better at that. Another thing I'm noticing here, that first blade, you see it there on the far right? It's not in line with this far side. It can't be, obviously, because that's where the side of the machine is. It's actually out a little bit, about 2 inches, and so you have to account for that when you're cutting that lumber, and well, that's something that I'll get used to. Now, that belt-in feed, I did like it. It pretty much holds the material exactly where you feed it in. There's none of this happening. As the board goes in, it doesn't go left or right, and I like that about it. I also like how the belt here, I like how it puts the sawdust down into nice piles there. Now, keep in mind, this edger comes with chutes, these metal dust chutes that can direct the dust different ways. I didn't put them on here because I'm going to be moving this around quite a bit, and I just want the dust to fall down onto the ground. But if you wanted it to go left or right or back, you can put those under there. Now, I have seen before where people will put rollers up here, and that will allow you to roll back material if you have to run it through again. Now, in my case, I don't know if I'm going to do that right away. I kind of like having a bit of grip up here so that when I put the board back up here, it doesn't roll away on me. Because let's be honest, I don't have a level out here, and it's probably not perfectly level. And if I have rollers and a board up there and it's not level, it could just take off on me. So we'll see if I put rollers up there in the future. Hard to say. Now, another thing is I mentioned about the blade being about 2 inches off of this edge. Sometimes I'm going to be edging boards where one side of it is already flat. In that case, I might put a little filler piece of wood so that when I start that board, it doesn't cut off 2 inches of it on the far side if it's already been edged. And I'll think about that as the future moves on. So I think that's going to do it for me here today. It was a success overall. Very happy to have this here, putting some miles on it. And if anyone had any questions about these, maybe you've got one of these and you want to share your experiences with board edgers, I'm all ears. I don't have any experience with board edgers. And so anything you can share with me to make the experience better for me, faster, more efficient, I'd certainly welcome it. If you have any other questions at all, make sure that goes down below as well in the comments. And if you haven't done so already, as I like to say, give her the old like-a-roo. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.